Oh, I know you're a honey bear. You better stay out of this honey, though. You better stay out of the honey.
Join the team.
Hey team, this is McGuire Review, and we're going to take a look at a new game from Awaken Realms, but Awaken Realms Lite. It's their version of the company where they do, frankly, just lighter games. And this is one that is called Bees. Actually, Bees, the Secret Kingdom. And I want to say that we have had a fantastic time with this game. It is probably our most beloved family title at this point that we are playing. I probably played it about 10 or 12 times so far since we've had it. We haven't had it that long because it is so fun and because it's a really fast executed game, which was a really good design for something like this. When it's fun, it's simple, make the actual gameplay really short as well. So you can play a bunch of games, it keeps you coming back to the table, and makes you want to win. That's exactly what this title has done. It also is anybody's game, because there's definitely some randomness to the game. You can definitely use some strategy, and I'll show you how the game plays out, but there is a bit of randomness to it, and I think that's what sort of allows anybody around the table to be able to take the win, even if it's their first time playing, okay? So, Van Ryder Games, Awaken Realms Lite, is who has done this one. I'll just start off with the box. Absolutely fantastic artwork and coloring on this box. The box is just beautiful. I mean, it is really eye-catching. When you look at the box, you're like, wow, what is this? What is this bees about? The box looks great. It's got a little spot there that kind of shines in the light, which is pretty cool. You do open the box, and it is nice and tight. That's why I do have kind of halfway open, because it is kind of difficult to actually get open. It's a very tight box. They did some really cool artwork there. You can see inside with the rose and the bee, the various different flowers around the outside of the box. It's just really nice. You got some artwork of the game on the back of the box. It's just excellent work on the design of the bees box. Component-wise, it's right what you see, very simple. You do have some cards that you can use to make the game a little bit more difficult. If you want to add that in, that is kind of an optional module. We'll talk about that here in a second. We've got our honey cards, our bees honey cards. Awesome artwork on the back of every one of these cards. They are larger sized. I don't know if they're full tarot sized cards, but they are larger sized tarot style cards. Really cool. And then the artwork on them is all different as well. They could have just had a standard beehive on each one of the cards, but they just went like a lot of the cards, they're all different. They have this different background of sort of the beehive and the honeybees making their honey there on the honeycomb. That's really cool. So you do have your honey bee cards, and then you have your gathering cards, your foraging cards, whatever you want to call these. This is where the bees are going to go out and gather pollen from the different flowers. And you can see there just the awesome artwork on the cards. Each one of the flowers are different, and they're going to bring a different pollen gem that you can collect, whether you are the player that has gone for it or you are everyone else. And that's how these cards are going to work. Let's say that you went here for this card. I love this blue here. So let's say you went for this as a player, and you said, okay, on my turn, I'm going to go and try to gather pollen, because turns are very simple. You either gather pollen or you spend your pollen gems to buy these honey cards, which come with these victory points. That's how you win the game. When the game is over, it is the person with the most victory points is the winner. You do get 3 victory points, or I'm sorry, you get 1 victory point for every 3 pollen gems that you have at the very end of the game. So there's a little bit of a strategy there of not spending, maybe keeping a few on the side to be able to get a point or 2 at the end, because it will be very close. So if you were the player to choose this, you would get both of the icons up here in the corner. And then down here in the bottom corner, everyone else would either take one or the other. So you would get a blue and a purple. Everybody else would get a blue or a purple. The only card that sort of just gives everybody the same thing is this one here, which says, hey, you can get one of every one of the pollen gems, and everyone else gets one of every one of the pollen gems as well. That's the only card that allows people to take more than one pollen gem if it isn't their turn. So that's how these cards are going to work. Very simple. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look really quick at the rule book. Again, just the rule book's awesome. I just love the artwork in this game. They just nailed it. Very, very simple. There's only a couple pages of rules, and then that's it. That's the end of the game. It will give you a little bit of an example of what a turn will look like, and that's it. A few FAQs on the back. We're done with the rule book. Within 5 minutes, this game is out of the box, and you're playing. It's that simple. You really don't even need prep time, because it's going to take you as long to just describe the actions of how it works than just to read the couple pages that come in this rule book. I love that. Okay, these are going to be cards where you're going to select one of these if you want to make the game a little bit more difficult. You've played the game a few times, and when you want to add a little flavor to it. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. We'll take a look at a couple of them here. Let's grab this one. It says extra points. Each player gets 3 victory points for every 5 pollen symbols in the same color on their honey cards. So it's just something to kind of add in to sort of dictate how you might want to go about buying certain honey cards, because you're going to get some more points at the end of the game if you do it right based on this card. Let's look at this one here. Instant win. You win immediately if you have 12 or more combined pollen symbols and pollen gems of any one color. So 12 or more, it's just an instant win. So there's another thing that you can do, and that may change your strategy for which cards you're going to, so it makes it a lot of fun. Okay, again, you don't have to use these. There's just 5 of these cards to sort of mix up the game if you want to do that, and you can shuffle them up and kind of go with different ones depending on what you want to do. Look at that artwork. I mean, the artwork it just pops. It's so colorful. It really draws you in. So how do you play the game? How you play the game is you're going to shuffle these cards here, and you're going to set them out to the side. You are then going to take a certain number of cards, and this is why this game can be played within 15 minutes. It's a very short game. It's going to be 5 cards per player plus 5 more. Okay, so when you're actually playing the game, you're only going to have a deck that's going to be, generally like that big. You're going to shuffle those up, and that 4 would have been part of these cards here. And then you're going to flip over 4 cards. All right, so it's not going to be 4 on top of the cards for the players. It's just for demo purposes here. I already have these cards out. You're going to flip 4 cards over, and then that's how many cards are going to be available in the game. When this deck runs out and the last card is flipped, that person's turn is like over, and then every other person around the table will get to take one more turn, and then that's it. That's the end of the game. And at that point, whatever cards you have that you've acquired that are in front of you, you're going to take those cards, and you're going to add up the points on the top, and you're going to add up any gems you have left over. Every 3 gems gets you another victory point. One thing I love about this game is it's always extremely close. You're only going to win or lose probably within a spread of 1 to 3 points. It's not like someone's going to have like 20 points and someone's going to have like 8 or 12. And for the number of games we've played, it's been that way every single time. And that's playing with myself, my wife, a 7-year-old son, and an 11-year-old daughter. And I don't believe I've actually won yet. My kids have won most of the games. And there's nothing there that I'm letting them win. Again, this really can be anybody's game if you're paying attention and you're collecting the right gems you need to buy the right cards. And that's as simple as well. So there's 2 different types of cards in the game. If you wanted to buy this 3-point honey card here, all you would need is 2 blues, 2 yellows, and then anytime you see a gray symbol, it's like a wild. Any of the colors work for that. So as long as you have acquired that color combination, you can just say, okay, I'm cashing in 2 blues, 2 yellows, and a purple. You can use anything for the gray. And then you can acquire that card, and then another card would come out. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. Sometimes you'll see that they'll just have what it costs, and that's it on the card, some artwork, and then your victory points. And then sometimes you'll have a card like this, which at the very bottom you will have an ability that will happen. It will trigger once you purchase that card. So this one is only worth 1 victory point. You need a red and a yellow to be able to get it. However, as soon as you purchase this card and bring it in, every other player may exchange 1 of their pollen gems for another. Sometimes it will allow other players to do things. Sometimes it will allow you. There are certain ones that say, well, here's an example here. Take 2 pollen gems of any color. So you might pay 2 reds, a blue, and 2 yellows, which is a lot. It's pretty expensive, and it is a 2-point. That's expensive for a 2-point. However, when you pull it in, you're then going to get 2 more gems of any color that you want, which you can stock up on what you think you might want to get. That's out there for the next round once it gets to you. Now, someone may have already purchased that card, again, but hopefully something comes out where you can, you can pick up a card because you got those 2 extra ones. And that's it, team. That is the whole game of Bees. It is that simple. It will take about 15 minutes to play a game. We have found our games are average right around that 15-minute mark. For a 4-player game, it does go pretty fast. Again, highly visual with the little colored gems, the awesome artwork. It's a very simple, streamlined game. And that is Bees. I highly recommend, as this hits retail and it starts to get out there more, I highly recommend if you come about this, it comes at a low price point. Just pick it up, do yourself a favor. This is a great little gateway game. It's a great family game. You'll play this probably more than the other short, small games that you have, at least when you first get it, I promise you. You will play this game quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. So hit that like, click the subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time, Bear. Let's roll.